Hello, I am Evelyn Samuel, the author of Super Easy Study Guides, and today I am going to give you some very valuable assistance in an inspector calls to help you get amazing results. Firstly, I will give you information on the context which is important to integrate into your exam questions, which will give you better grades. Then I am going to give you a summary of Act 1, and after that I am going to analyze in detail Act 1, Scene 1 using connotative meanings, which will enhance your grades markedly. Priestley gives us a vivid description of the Burling's house, a fairly large suburban house, typical of the capitalist class which Mr. Burling represents. It has solid furniture, like their solid lives, but that solidity will soon be shattered when the inspector arrives. Priestley says that the general effect is heavily comfortable. Mr. Burling is described as heavy-looking, while the house is described as not cozy and homelike, and Mrs. Burling as a rather cold woman. One can associate their personalities to their furniture, inanimate objects which are cold and detached. The lighting is pink and intimate, in keeping with the celebratory nature of Sheila's engagement. But we do see a change in tone when the inspector arrives. The lighting gets brighter and harder, which can be associated with the terrible news that the inspector is bringing. We see the indulgence of the rich capitalist class with fancy attire, tails and white bow ties, evening dresses, and stylish tables set with port, cigar boxes, and cigarettes. Priestley deliberately details their decadent lifestyle to show us how the poor socialist classes like Eva Smith were struggling without food or jobs, yet the rich of that era lived in such opulence. His description of Mr. and Mrs. Burling is not very flattering, and one can imply that he writes with a very bitter tone. Mr. Burling is a rather portentous man, his wife a rather cold woman. Sheila is very pleased with life. We see a gradual change in Sheila from a naive, impressionable girl to one who is strong and mature by the end of the play. Gerald is described as the easy, well-bred young man about town. Eric is not quite at ease, half shy, half assertive. They are celebrating a very special occasion, Sheila's engagement. They are very pleased with themselves, but this excitement is short-lived with the arrival of the inspector. Mr. Burling is very patronizing when he talks about port. He is trying to emulate Mr. Croft by copying his taste in wine. It's exactly the same port your father gets. He is trying to equate his status to that of the Crofts, who are far superior. In the stage direction, we note that Sheila is described as gaily. We will trace her mood changes throughout the play. I'd hate you to know all about port. Later, we see that her reaction to Gerald's infidelity is far more serious. When Mr. Burling compliments the cook, Mrs. Burling reproaches him for saying so. Quote, Arthur, you should not have supposed to have said such things. Mrs. Burling proves to be a social snob, a typical behavior of aristocratic women of that era. Sheila is very perceptive when she questions Gerald about his absence all summer. Quote, when you never came near me. This can be foreshadowing for later in the play when Gerald's affair is revealed. Sheila is suspicious of him, and her suspicions are later confirmed. Quote, yes, that's what you say. Sheila tends to be assertive here when she tells Gerald, quote, so you be careful. It's more like a threat, and we can see that Sheila is already developing as an individual and is standing up for her rights. Sheila and Eric share a light banter, which is typical of the younger generation. Quote, you are squiffy. Don't be an ass, Eric. Sheila's use of colloquialism shocks the snobbish Mrs. Burling. Thanks for watching, and if you like my video, I would appreciate it if you'd give me a thumbs up, subscribe and share. My super easy study guide has lots and lots of help regarding exam questions on an inspector calls. You can check it out. It's now on Amazon for sale. Thanks for watching. Bye.